Good morning. How are you today?
Can't get no rest. Don't know how I work all day. When will I learn? Memories get in the way. I walk around. I can't hear a sound. Folks talking loud, but I don't see at all. I gotta get away, gotta get away. I don't know where to go. It's hopeless, so leave it alone. Well, I spent all that day fixing up to go somewhere. Thought I was late, and I found she wasn't there. I guess I'll find a little peace of mind some other time, but I still have today. I gotta get away, gotta get away. I don't know where to go. It's hopeless, so yes, I'll leave it alone. Things people play, night or day, they're just not matching what they should do. Keeps me feeling blue. Been down too long, right, wrong, I just can't stop it. Spending all day, thinking just of you. 45, headed for the subway home. I took my time, cause I felt so all alone. Not far away, I heard a funny sound, took a look around, and I could see her face. Smile as she came, calling out my name, so I know where to go. We'll take it slow, it's not all it again. These people play, night or day, they're just not matching what they should do. Keep me feeling blue. Been down too long, right, wrong, I just can't stop it. Spending all day, thinking just of you. Things people play, night or day, they're just not matching what they should do.
So, collective, you have broken free from a situation, a person, okay? Something about a stronghold. Somebody thought that they had you on a string here, okay? This could be through some form of manipulation here, all right? If warfare resonates here, maybe somebody tried to bind you here, okay? But you have broke free, and this is causing some conflict, some friction here amongst some folks here, okay? I was hearing that somebody thought that you would be better off on the shelf, like something to look at, okay? It's like somebody didn't want you to show up and show out, perform, Like, be yourself, step into your power is what I'm getting. And this person, this could be like an ex-lover, this could even be like a parental figure here. They're trying to numb themselves here, okay? Maybe somebody did not want you to activate yourself or a specific gift here, but I'm just getting go time, green light here, okay? I don't know if this person was like feeding off of your power, your source of power here, okay, your energy source here, but it's almost as if they're at a decimal. Okay, they're at a deficit, okay, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, maybe even financially here, okay? It's like somebody who wanted to use you here, okay? They didn't want you to tap into your power here. It's like they just wanted to take it. But you broke free from that cycle, from this relationship. Again, this could even be a job here. This could even be a way of life here, a belief system here, all right? And is Rizzy, child, what is going on? Somebody's name could be Rizzy. It's really causing a lot of havoc here for some folks, okay? I'm getting you something about your North Node here, okay? You're taking charge, breakthrough.
You carry a shape Earth has never seen before. If they could pin you down, God wouldn't have set you free. You were created to break categories, to walk in patterns no human hand could sketch, to move in ways that leave people puzzled. That is not a flaw. It is the evidence of heaven's craftsmanship. When the world struggles to define you, it is because the Lord himself designed you to confuse the predictable and awaken the hungry. You were never meant to be a copy of the crowd. Psalm 139 verse 14 declares you are fearfully and wonderfully made, and that divine fingerprint cannot be imitated. What looks like mystery to others is simply the signature of the Spirit guiding your steps. If people cannot predict you, it is because your compass is calibrated by revelation, not by culture. The patterns that steer your life were drawn up in eternity, not in the systems of men. Think about Jeremiah 1 verse 5, where God said, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you before you were born. I set you apart." That separation is not rejection, it is ordination. Your uniqueness is not random. It was written into you before you took your first breath. You often feel restless when surrounded by shallow conversations and surface priorities. That inner nudge, that discomfort you cannot ignore, is heaven's way of protecting your destiny. It is a holy red light that keeps you from drifting into places that would dilute your assignment. History shows this pattern clearly. Prophets, pioneers, reformers, all of them looked suspicious to their generation. They were misunderstood, mislabeled, and often resisted because they carried something too large for ordinary boxes. It is a holy red light that keeps you from drifting into places that would dilute your assignment. History shows this pattern clearly. Prophets, pioneers, reformers, all of them looked suspicious to their generation. That inner nudge, that discomfort you cannot ignore, is heaven's way of protecting your destiny. It is a holy red light that keeps you from drifting into places that would dilute your assignment. Prophets, pioneers, reformers, all of them looked suspicious to their generation. They were misunderstood, mislabeled, and often resisted because they carried something too large for ordinary boxes. You are walking in that same lineage. History shows this pattern clearly. Prophets, pioneers, reformers, all of them looked suspicious to their generation. They were misunderstood, mislabeled, and often resisted because they carried something too large for ordinary boxes. You are walking in that same lineage. 1 Peter 2 verse 9 reminds us that you are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession. That identity means your rhythms, your disciplines, your refusals, and your priorities will rarely align with what the crowd finds normal. You are walking in that same lineage. 1 Peter 2 verse 9 reminds us that you are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession. That identity means your rhythms, your disciplines, your refusals, and your priorities will rarely align with what the crowd finds normal. That difference is not weakness, it is your shield. Every time you resist the urge to fit in, you testify to God's authority over your life. You do not need to perform an identity for the approval of others. Your obedience, your freedom, your consecration, these are not social experiments. They are sacred witnesses. Heaven's design defends you more than explanation ever could. Do not be surprised when your life triggers mixed reactions. The fearful may oppose you because what they cannot categorize, they often criticize. They are sacred witnesses. Heaven's design defends you more than explanation ever could. Do not be surprised when your life triggers mixed reactions. The fearful may oppose you because what they cannot categorize, they often criticize. Yet the hungry will be drawn because the fragrance of authenticity awakens thirst in those longing for truth. They are sacred witnesses. Heaven's design defends you more than explanation ever could. Do not be surprised when your life triggers mixed reactions. The fearful may oppose you because what they cannot categorize, they often criticize. Yet the hungry will be drawn because the fragrance of authenticity awakens thirst in those longing for truth. Expect both resistance and attraction, and walk through both with humility. Your distinct path, your unusual cadence, your countercultural priorities are heaven's evidence that you were designed to shine. Your distinct path, your unusual cadence, your countercultural priorities are heaven's evidence that you were designed to shine. Keep your difference close to your heart. Let the truth of your divine design echo inside you until you no longer question why you do not fit the mold. Your distinct path, your unusual cadence, your countercultural priorities are heaven's evidence that you were designed to shine. Keep your difference close to your heart. Let the truth of your divine design echo inside you until you no longer question why you do not fit the mold. Your distinct path, your unusual cadence, your countercultural priorities are heaven's evidence that you were designed to shine. Keep your difference close to your heart. Let the truth of your divine design echo inside you until you no longer question why you do not fit the mold. And when doubt whispers, remember that you are chosen, consecrated, and commissioned. And because of that design, their attempts to define you will always fall short. Keep your difference close to your heart. Let the truth of your divine design echo inside you until you no longer question why you do not fit the mold. And when doubt whispers, remember that you are chosen, consecrated, and commissioned. And because of that design, their attempts to define you will always fall short. They tune into noise, but you move to a frequency they cannot access. And when doubt whispers, remember that you are chosen, consecrated, and commissioned. And because of that design, their attempts to define you will always fall short. They tune into noise, but you move to a frequency they cannot access.
That's because they don't want to access it. They choose to be ignorant. They don't want the truth, so they made their choice.
They are haunted by their betrayal. There comes a time when truth starts knocking on the very doors people tried to keep shut. The ones who betrayed you, who smiled in your face while stabbing you in the back. They thought they got away with it. They thought walking away meant freedom, that your silence meant weakness, and that your heart would never recover. But what they didn't count on was the echo of what they did, the echo of your presence now replaced by absence. See, betrayal is not just an action, it's a seed, and that seed always grows into something they can't control. It blooms in the middle of the night when they're alone with their thoughts. It whispers in moments of quiet. It haunts them in conversations where your name should have never left their mouth. What they dismissed, devalued, and destroyed has now become their torment. Because the truth is, betrayal never ends where it starts. It follows them. It shadows their joy. It rewrites their peace. And while you were building strength out of pain, they were building walls trying to keep out the guilt. But no wall can keep out a storm sent by heaven. And now that storm has arrived. Not because you wish them harm, but because the truth always comes back around. They are haunted, not by you, but by what they did to you. Betrayal leaves a scar on the betrayer, not just the betrayed. There's a pain that cuts so deep, it doesn't bleed on the outside, it bleeds in the spirit. Betrayal, not from strangers, but from the ones who looked you in the eye and said, "I got you," then turned around and proved they never did. We often talk about the heartbreak of being betrayed, the silence, the confusion, the heaviness in the chest when trust is shattered. But what we don't talk about enough is how betrayal scars the betrayer too. Yes, they walk away. Yes, they may smile like nothing ever happened. Yes, they may even try to convince themselves they were justified. But behind that mask, behind that confident walk and loud laughter, there's a bruise forming, one that doesn't fade with time. Because betrayal leaves a scar, and it doesn't just wound the betrayed, it curses the one who caused it. You see, when you give someone your purest love, your deepest trust, and they mishandle it, they're not just hurting you, they're staining their own soul. They're building a history they can't run from, because while you're out here healing and growing, they're haunted by a moment they can't undo. You might think they've moved on, you might think they're sleeping easy, but the truth is, the betrayer never escapes the truth. It becomes a silent shadow in their life. It shows up in the eyes of the next person they try to love. It shows up in the moments of stillness when there's no noise to distract them. Their conscience becomes their courtroom, and their memory becomes the prosecution. They remember the words they said, the trust they broke, and the look in your eyes when they crossed that line. They remember it all. And no matter how hard they try to erase it, cover it, distract from it, the scar stays. The damage they caused might have shaken you, but it doesn't follow you like it follows them. Because you faced it, you felt it, you healed through it. But they buried it, and buried wounds fester. There's something else people forget. Betrayal is often not about you. It's a reflection of who they are. You showed love, they responded with lies. You offered loyalty, they paid it back with deceit. That's not your weakness. It's their sickness. And that sickness doesn't vanish when they leave. It eats away at them. It corrupts future relationships. It rewrites the way they see themselves, even if they never admit it out loud. And the longer they pretend it never happened, the louder that silent guilt screams. They buried it, and buried wounds fester. There's something else people forget. Betrayal is often not about you. It's a reflection of who they are.
19 Keys, what you say?
See, the problem is, it's not the facts that people use, it's how they use them and why they use them, and for a real reason that they're using them. There's one single entity and one single thing that I see that the right have in common that they want, and that's white power. I mean, some of them just outrightly say it, because they don't care about violence that happens in America. They don't care about a crime issue in America. They don't care about mentally ill or challenged people. Otherwise, if they did, then those same capitalists that are backing their agendas would be the same people that are building out tools to help society become a better one. But you don't spend billions of dollars to create sovereign wealth funds in this country that is based on aggressive capitalism, yet not caring whether it actually helps or impact lives, decreases crime. Instead, let's just bring in the military, the police, them, get the numbers down, politicize that for a minute, so we can justify using them whenever we want to in the over-surveillance military. See,
welcome to Talk Line. Happy to have you along. Hope you will give us a call and join in the conversation. 336 222-9224. Well, you know, there was a battle royal going on over in Mebane. Cone Health and Duke Health had decided they wanted to build a hospital in Mebane. Well, they had to apply to the state for a certificate of need. Well, the state approved one of the two plans yesterday, and they are going to allow Cone Health to build the $250 million hospital. State officials approved that certificate of need over Duke. Now, Duke has 30 days to appeal that decision. Whether they're going to appeal it or not, nobody knows. But
we hope they do. We don't want no more Cone Hospital in Alamance County. We got enough with Alamance Regional. Sorry, hospital.
The things that they were going to do, and the state looked at both of them, and they decided that they were.
What happened?
You can't just build a hospital. The state wants you to tell them you're going to build a hospital, and they'll say yay or nay to it. You know, you need a certificate of need. If there's no need for a hospital, then they won't let you build it. I wonder where that came from. You know, what does that mean to a private hospital? They want to build a hospital, they have to get a certificate of need? I don't know. All right, did you watch Jimmy Kimmel last night? He came back on the air after a 4-day suspension. They said ABC said it was going to be indefinite, and it was 4 days. And you know, he came back on the air. I don't know what anybody expected, but I thought, you know, let's see, you know, what in the world? Do you remember what it was that he said that got him indefinitely suspended? He was speaking, doing his monologue on his regular show, and he said, quote, "We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them, and doing everything that they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving on Friday. The White House flew the flag at half-staff, which got some criticism, but on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this." And then he was trying to be funny, so they cut to an interview with the president, where the president was saying, yeah, they asked him about, you know, what's going on and how does he feel, and he said, you know, I'm very good. And then he started talking about the new ballroom that they're building at the White House, and Kimmel said, yes, the fourth stage of grief, construction. You know, so what he was doing was he got the thing wrong about the person that did this being a MAGA person. That started out in the beginning of the situation and was quickly pushed aside. That really wasn't what happened. There are a lot of people. We had one person who was talking about it not yesterday but the day before on here. You know, that's been disproven. That's not what's going on. His family was Republican, but he had been he had been changed. He did not think like his family thought. He just hated Charlie Kirk, and he wanted, you know, that has come out in the news. So that's what Kimmel said, to get himself in hot water in a 4-day suspension. Now, the reason he got suspended was not so much for what he said, because he said things that are like that before. It was because the owned and operated that own and operate regular television stations that have ABC on them were a little upset and said that they were going to cancel, they were going to preempt his program and not run it. So that's why it appears that the Disney and ABC suspended him. Well, Kimmel returned to his long-running late-night show yesterday, less than a week after network broadcaster ABC pulled Jimmy Kimmel Live over remarks that he made about the assassination of Charlie Kirk. "It's been overwhelming." This is a quote from Jimmy Kimmel. "It's been overwhelming. I've heard from all the people in the world over the last 6 days. Kimmel joked in the opening monologue, going on to thank all those who came out in his defense, including conservatives. Most of all, I want to thank the people who don't support my show and what I believe, but support my right to share those beliefs anyway. The Walt Disney Company, which owns ABC, had announced Monday that Kimmel would return to the air. It followed a political and media firestorm that began after the comedian addressed Kirk slaying in a September 5th monologue, saying we hit some new lows, and it was the quote that I just gave you about that. An emotional Kimmel on Tuesday said that, quote, "It's important to me as a human, and that is that you understand that it was never my intention to make light of the murder of a young man. I don't think there's anything funny about it," noting that he had taken to social media following Kirk's killing to send his condolences to the Kirk family. Kimmel didn't issue a blanket apology from his monologue remarks last week, but said that he understood how it was offensive to some. Quote, "Nor was it my intention to blame any specific group for the actions of what obviously was a deeply disturbed individual," Kimmel said about the gunman. That was really the opposite of the point I was trying to make. But I understand that some that felt either ill-timed or unclear, or maybe both. And for those who think I did point a finger, I get why you're upset. If the situation was reversed, there's a good chance that I would have felt the same way. The show was back on the air, that's what he said. I think we're going to have a test out there, this. Let's see how they do this time. Last time I went after them, they gave me $16 million. He said that this sounds more lucrative than that, so who knows what that means. Kimmel told his audience Tuesday that the president made it very clear that he wants to see me and hundreds of people who work here fired from their jobs. A leader celebrates Americans losing their livelihood because he can't take a joke. Well, now see, that's where, I fall out with all this. That this was not a time for joking. It just wasn't. And you're saying the president can't take a joke? No, the country is upset. You said. One thing I did learn from Lenny Bruce and George Carlin and Howard Stern is that a government threat to silence a comedian is anti-American. In a September 17th interview with right-wing podcaster Benny Johnson, Federal Communications Commissioner Brendan Carr called Kimmel's remarks some of the sickest conduct possible and said that there was a path forward for suspension over this. Well, I've been reading FCC rules and regulations forever, and I don't see that path. Kimmel, I think what Kimmel said was inappropriate, and he shouldn't have said it. And he said that. He said it was inappropriate. And some people were upset. He said, I understand that. He did not apologize. Now, that's what I'd like to know. Why can't you just say, stand up there, that you got your job back, and you said, look, I understand that many people think what I said was inappropriate. If you're one of those people that thought what I said was inappropriate, I sincerely apologize. That was not my intent. And move on. Just move on. Don't say anything else. Just go right ahead.
But we don't apologize. We don't. That man was a demon. He was supposed to get killed. And all of them Trump people supposed to get killed. They're going to perish. They need to start now and just get that fuck off the earth. Get that fuck off the earth so the people who own the earth that enjoy love and peace and don't like to keep a bunch of shit stirred up can enjoy themselves. And y'all go on to hell where you going to be anyway.
I get that. And to those people and everyone else that thought it was inappropriate, I sincerely apologize.
I don't apologize. Because the motherfucker was
I don't know
supposed to
why.
get killed. He's a demon. All demons
do
will die.
that. Now, last night, within hours of the interview with the FCC, Nexstar announced that it would preempt Kimmel's show over the remarks that he made. They have 200 stations. Nexstar spokesperson told CBS last week that the decision to preempt
Mama, these
Kimmel's
people
show
are dumb as hell. They some goddamn
Made by
backwards ass thinking people.
head
And you
coach
telling me to
at
be
the-
quiet? Hell no, I ain't gonna be
ABC
quiet.
owned and
You be
operated
quiet. That's the
dominated
problem.
station
People
Sinclair
like you don't say nothing.
said
You sit
that
there and
last
take
week
their
that it would be
shit.
pulling
I ain't taking their goddamn
complaint.
shit.
It's
I'm had
reported
enough of it.
ABC on Tuesday night, both Nexstar and Sinclair said they would continue to preempt Kimmel's show. Sinclair on Monday posted a statement on X saying that we will preempt Jimmy Kimmel Live across the ABC affiliate stations, and we'll be replacing it with news programming.
Right to say the things that he said, even though I think they're inappropriate. He had every right to say them. But the consequences of that, and right now, ABC gave him 4 days of consequences, did not put the show on for 4 days, then brought him back. Now, Nexstar and Sinclair, who have over 200 stations that are not going to show Kimmel, that we will see if that continues after today. You know, what he said last night may have some effect on them. All right now, 12 minutes before 9 o'clock, and let me tell you about UniFirst. UniFirst Talk Line.
Good morning. I'd like to make a couple of comments on the Jimmy Kimmel business.
All right.
You can only arrive at the conclusion that the head honchos at ABC must be totally in line with Kimmel ideologically, because you look at this situation, the guy's got terrible ratings. I mean, if it had been a drama show or a comedy show, it would have been yanked off the air a lot quicker than Kimmel, right? I mean, they wouldn't have given the reign that they've given to Kimmel to a comedy that had the ratings that he had, you know? And, it'll be interesting because, it looks like ABC's willing to tell their affiliates to take a hike, you know? I mean, he's so important to them, and you can only, what other reason? If his ratings are terrible and they're willing to tell their affiliates to take a hike, it can only be because they're on board with his feelings politically, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing I can figure.
Well, you would think that, they will tell you no. They will say no. It has to do.
Of course.
When we put together, a network like ABC, we do have some things that have less ratings and don't make any money, but we have them for diversity. That's what they'll say. His ratings were worse than the ratings of the other guy that they took off. He loses
Colbert.
more money than Colbert. He loses more money.
Yeah.
So I don't profess to understand why they do the things that they do. I'm amazed that they would allow anybody to stay, because in the radio business we can't do that. If you're not making any money, I'm sorry, we're going to have to let you move on. We have to make money. We cannot have put together a losing situation and let it run. We just don't do that. Now, we do some non-profit things like public service because we're required to do that by the FCC. But we couldn't let that go on. I don't understand how television can spend $100 million, $150 million, lose $40 million a year, and keep the show going. I don't get it.
You got me. I'll tell you what. It'll be interesting to see. Do you think the affiliates will fold? Do you think they will?
Yes, I do. And why do I think that? I think that they will be talked into it. I think that see, here's one of the things. One of those, the two Sinclair and the Net company, whatever that is. One of those companies is in the process of selling, and they don't want to get on to the bad side of the FCC. And they think that this will make them look good, is what they think. So, but I still think that if that sale were to fall through, or they get any thoughts from the people that are buying, that it doesn't matter to them, they'll fold like a cheap suit.
So,
I don't.
so they're willing. So they're willing to alienate the people who raised the ruckus about this in the first place.
Yeah, I think so. They've been doing
Wow.
it for years. Now there may be some individual stations. When you have an owned and operated, like Sinclair, you have a manager of each one of those stations that they own. They got 60, I think, or about that number. Those individual managers may make that decision. Now Sinclair may step forward and say, "Oh no, you're not going to do that." But they have some autonomy. I don't know. I just have a feeling that all this is going to be just dusted right under the rug, and that they'll spend some time not carrying it and running the news, and then all of a sudden you'll hear that they're going to go back with Kimmel. But I might be wrong.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I just to close, I'd just like to say that I can't stand to hear Jimmy Kimmel talk about freedom of speech, because the killer did the ultimate in taking away Charlie Kirk's freedom of speech.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right,
All right,
appreciate
thank
it.
you.
Thank you. Take care. 222-9224.
Good morning, Mr. Harry.
Hey there.
I'll tell you, with respect to Jimmy Kimmel, I didn't expect him to apologize. You see, a man who said what that man said, that started all of his criticism, a person like that has hell in the heart. It's just coming out of the mouth.
Jim, I really believe that he was. I really did. I was a little disappointed that he didn't just say, "Look, I didn't mean to offend anybody, and if I did, I apologize." I expected that. I was a little disappointed that he didn't.
Yeah, I didn't think he'd do it. I just, and I come back to the fact, we're talking about it, no question about it, that all you got to do is go back and look at his reviews of his show, being a Trump hater. And as far as I'm concerned, it's his trademark. I mean, every night throwing venom toward Trump, and in my opinion, I don't think he has any use for anybody connected to Trump, and that could very well include the late Charlie Kirk. And I fully expect that the number of individuals that watch the show will drop, even further. Now, there's really nothing new, though, about this business when we talk about freedom of speech. I can walk into a movie theater, and this matches exactly what you've been talking about, Harry. I can walk into a movie theater, and I can stand up and I can scream, Trump is a lousy president, Trump is no good, or Biden is no good, and on and on. And based on our Constitution, as you said, okay, I can clearly state that, okay? But there are consequences, as you stated. Rest assured, in the example I'm giving, that the theater management has the right to remove me from their theater, because I'm interfering with the freedom of others that want to watch the movie. They didn't come there to hear somebody slander Trump or to slander Biden. Now, you'd have to know that, I hate to bring this up, you'd have to know that Kamala, we remember Kamala, would have to enter the discussions or whatever pertaining Jimmy Kimmel. Of course, because Kimmel's show is nothing but a propaganda platform that always upholds anything that anyone does that's from the demonic Democratic Party. In fact, Harris has been on that program often. Harris's behavior is detestable. And I really had to give a lot of thought to even bringing up what I'm going to share, but I think it's worth doing that or whatever. Because this is what Kamala Harris wrote on X. Now, I want to read this. What we're witnessing is an outright abuse of power. This administration is attacking critics and using this as a weapon to silence anyone who would speak out. Media corporations, from television networks to newspapers, capitulating to these threats. And we cannot dare be silent or complacent in the fear, the face of the frontal assault on free speech. We, the people, deserve better than this. And then, after she posted that on X, many X users, and by the way, that included Elon Musk, the platform's owner, they were quick to point out Harris's own past statements. Some suggested they appeared to support censorship. Musk resurfaced a 2019 tweet by Harris when Mr. Trump was serving in his first administration. Harris, a U.S. Senate at that time, representing California, was running for the president or the vice president, when she made the post on X, Twitter. And here it is, it's now Twitter. Here's what she says. Look, let's be honest. Donald Trump's Twitter account should be suspended. Harris wrote this on September 30th, 2019. Yeah. Now here's Harris screaming about freedom of speech being taken away under Trump. And yet in 2019, she said that Donald Trump's Twitter account should be suspended. Give me a break, woman. And then the Jimmy Kimmel Show has become a late-night joke in itself. And again, I think the viewership, if I have this number correct, Mr. Harry, is 1.5 million. Think about that. 1.5 million people, that's all that watch that program out of 340 million Americans. And this should be no surprise, because these people, and I'm talking about like Kimmel and Stephen Colbert, and they don't have any talent. They're far removed from the status of a Johnny Carson. And this blows my mind, Mr. Harry. Speaking of Johnny Carson, you know, once upon a time, Johnny was interviewed by Mike Wallace on 60 Minutes. And this is what Johnny Carson said. Now, tell me the last time that Jack Benny, Red Skelton, any comedian used his show to do serious issues. That's not what I'm here for. Can't they see that? Why do they think that just because you have a Tonight Show that you must deal in serious issues? That is a danger. It's a real danger. Once you start that, you start to get that self-important feeling that what you say has great importance. And you know, strangely enough, you could use that show as a forum. My God, Johnny Carson. And you could sway people. And I don't think that you should do that as an entertainer. My goodness gracious. But you see, in closing this morning, you see Johnny Carson believe that we should cherish our freedom of speech, but not abuse it. Not abuse it. And that's because he was a decent human being. Decent people don't try to degrade one who has died in a tragic death, such as Charlie Kirk. Have a wonderful day, Mr. Harry. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you. All right, 222-9224. 222-9224. I want to tell you about the Tire Center of Burlington. The Tire Center of Burlington, Jimmy Lewis, the owner there, invites you to come on by. They have complete automotive service, all the major brands of tires. They're located in downtown Burlington, the corner of Church Street and Maple Avenue downtown. Now, if you need tires, you need one tire, a set of tires, or a fleet of tires, they've got them. They got all the major brands: Firestone, Toyo, BF Goodrich, Michelin, Dunlop, Yokohama, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Kelly, General, Goodyear, Pirelli, and many others. They have complete automotive service, from simple things like oil, lube, and filter to North Carolina inspection, two-wheel and four-wheel alignments, and four-wheel thrust alignments for 20-inch wheels and above. At the Tire Center of Burlington, you can get your shocks and struts worked on, brake service, alternators, timing belts, CV boots and axles, tune-ups, towing, air conditioning, radiator work, battery work, belts and hoses, starters, clutches, and more. The Tire Center of Burlington. Tell them that you heard us talking about them on Talk Line. Antiques.
Morning, Harry.
Hey there, how are you?
I'm doing just fine.
All right.
I've listened to the way everybody's talking this morning, and I agree that freedom of speech is number one. We can say anything we want to about somebody else or some organization, but you can't stand up in the middle of a movie theater and holler fire. And by the slander laws, you can't tell all the lies that they've told about Charlie Kirk. And, well, just to put it plainly, the Democratic Party lives and dies on their lies. And I think they're going to die on these lies. A man that was a man of God, a whole lot better man than I am.
You got to realize that Y'all serve a demonic God. Y'all serve the devil. We don't serve the devil. Y'all do.
For truth and justice and the American way. And he was killed by a dirty, insane sniper to silence the truth that he was putting out there in the world for all of us.
You see how backwards they are? They think lies is the truth. That's how backwards they are. They think that lies is the truth. You see why the country is all fucked up? Because of their goddamn stupid asses.
Or more that was there at Charlie's rally. And we have all got to stand up and get in their faces and tell them that what the truth really is. That the American people want homes. They want wives. They want children. They don't want strife. They just don't want the BS that we're being fed every day. And the only thing I can say is I'm not going to stand for it anymore. If I hear somebody talking junk about Charlie, if I hear somebody talking junk about Trump, when they're lies, not when they're just mouths to hear their mouth run, but when they're real lies, I hate to say this, but I'm going to get up in their face from now on.
Well, you better be ready, because we're going to get right back in yours and knock your goddamn ass out and put you in the graveyard, you sorry-ass liar. You are the ones who tell the lies, you sorry-ass Westerners from Europe.
You need to aspire to be better by not getting up in people's faces.
Well, I just said that. I said, I'm trying to be a better man. But I want justice for Charlie Kirk. I want the
And we want justice for what was done to us. We want justice what y'all white motherfuckers done to us. Y'all sorry ass bitches. Y'all some sorry people.
And anybody else that wants to hurt the United States. This bunch called Antifa. Trump said he was going to declare every one of them a terrorist. That's fine with me. And I'm ready to get out there and fight the terrorists.
We already declared y'all terrorists. We already know y'all are terrorists. You call yourself Christian. You're demonic Christians. We know the difference. You ain't gonna fool us.
I'm gonna fight with words. I'm gonna fight with my vote. And if it comes down to, I'll fight with my hands and fists. I'm tired of people tearing my country down.
Well, listen here, goddamn son of a bitch. I worked with y'all all my life. And I know how your goddamn sorry asses operate. You ain't shit. Go somewhere and suck your dick.
I love my country. Get out of it. Don't bring your communist ideas. Don't bring your hate speech. Don't bring your lies. And I'm telling this to every politician out there that can hear me. You take this little old podunk town of Graham and Alamance County, you got a lot of patriots in this little area I live in. And they're willing to stand up beside Charlie. And like I said, there's a lot better people than I am. But I want justice. I want the laws that are on the books to be enforced 100%.
Well, that means that means you already dead.
200 for however long he lived. And the one that shot Charlie Kirk, I hope Utah prosecutes him. And just for me, I want that man's life. Because I'm not as good a person as Charlie. I'm not near as good a person as his wife. I'm not ever going to forgive him. He killed in the name of the devil and Satan. Hey, I want to send him to meet his master.
All right. Appreciate it. Thank you. You have a good day.
But I hope to get better.
All right. Thank you. 222-9224. Why do you come here? You know, it's always somebody, you know, who's willing to say how horrible we are as Americans. when actually we're pretty great folks. We really are. Now, we've had some, in the past, we've done terrible things. Absolutely. You know, terrible, awful things that we would have a hard time, the people that did those things, having a hard time atoning for them, you know, 200 years ago, 100 years ago, 50.
You see what I'm talking about? And you see what Kirk's wife said? Do you see the difference in this world? This woman, now I don't know whether this is truth that she's speaking or not, but I know what she's speaking. She said she forgives that man for killing her husband, and that she's going to carry on this. Now listen, I don't know what his legacy was. You see, because I know nothing about him. I don't know whether he was preaching hate, or preaching he was a man of God, or what. I've never heard him mention God. You see what I'm saying? So I can't judge him. I know who Donald Trump is. See, every word that comes out of the mouth is what's judged by God. You see what I'm saying? See, I know who God is. But these people, what they're doing, what you just heard on this show right here, is you got millions of people just like what he said. I know who he is. There's no need for me to get on here and talk about what he said and who he is. I know who he is. You see what I'm saying? You people, listen, you people, a lot of you people have condemned this man for what he said on this show, and I see nothing that man said. I didn't see nothing but he said about he was glad that Kirk got killed or nothing else. See, it's taken and put into something these people wanted. See, the wicked people is the one that's speaking on this show. I hear them. You see what I'm saying? And I hear Kirk's wife speak of God. I heard this man just get through speaking of hate. You see what I'm saying? I just got through hearing Jim speak of hating people. You see what I'm saying? He speaks it in another word. He speaks it in the lips of Satan. You see, I know who Jim is. There's no need for me to get on here and slander and talk about Jim and call him all kind of words and things. I know who he is. And I'll say this, and I'll stand before God at 83 years old and say this. Jim is not a man of God. Yes, judge me now and say that I'm judgmental. I'm judgmental. He is not a man of God. You hear me talking to you? And Donald Trump is not a man of God.
Well, how do you justify when God says don't be judgmental?
I'm not talking about judgment. I'm talking about what the man says. God says, listen, this is what God says. My people I created. Donald Trump ain't created nobody. You understand what I'm saying? Listen, the woman runs her mouth and go on, and the woman wasn't even here. God swept man up from the ground. I'm talking Bible. Swept man up from the ground and blew breath in him, and he become a living soul, and there was no woman here. And these women are set up and tell you, I brought you in the world. You ain't brought me nowhere. Nowhere. My bringer, my servant, and I'm God's servant. You understand what I'm saying? You've taken this woman that God have punished her and said you shall bring children in this world with a great sorrow. And that's what's happened. This is what's wrong. And this is the reason he throwed you out of heaven. Because you foolish men did eat from what she gave the man, and then God punished him. He said, for hearkening unto your wife's voice, your punishment is. This is the reason you're a fool of a woman. You see what I'm saying? And this is the reason he don't want you in his kingdom. You see, I know what the Bible says. You people talk about judgment. I'm not judging nobody. I'm judging you by what you are.
Yeah, but you said you were being judgmental. You said that.
Yeah, I am. Of a wicked person. Donald Trump's wicked. I say he is. And like I told you, I said before God at 83 years old and not afraid of it. You understand what I'm saying? Because God knows who Donald Trump is, and so do I. Okay. You see what I'm saying? If what you have done and going on in this world to cripple people and go on like that, and go on, if I see you, I know who you're the people that created this gun. God didn't give you the knowledge to create no M16. You fools did this. You see? And you're going to take punishment for it, and you're going to get bullets in your head and things, just like these folks, just like the President of the United States did, Clinton. You see what I'm saying? You people caused Clinton to get killed with all these weapons and things that you're getting trains and things now that run 200 miles an hour. You're going to get killed. You understand what I'm saying? You the people made the bombs. You the people made these drones. You the people made these cars and things that run 200 miles an hour and up in stands and things. 225,000 people looking at a race. You see what I'm saying? This is the reason I told you about I hope the bull break your neck when you call yourself a bull. You ain't got no business on a bull. Did you see what happened to this man that's got this tiger? The tiger just killed him. You ought to put this on your show. Tiger just killed him. You see what I'm turned on him? A beast of the field that you got no business messing with.
All right, appreciate it.
You see, I know, appreciate it. I don't get an extra word or nothing because I'm right.
Of course you do. Of course you do.
See what I'm saying? Michael sees these things. Michael is not no evil man. You got the evil folks on the show that you go right along with. And I'm going to tell you about it. You can say what you want. You can hate me. You can do what you want to. But I got
I don't hate you. I've never said I hated you.
For what you're saying.
I don't hate you. I just try
over you too.
Give people 5 minutes. That's all I do.
That's all right.
I appreciate it.
Just what I said is exactly what I mean.
You've been talking 7 minutes,
You condemn people.
I haven't condemned anybody. I don't condemn anybody. I've not condemned a soul. What are you talking about?
I'm talking about you.
I have not. Who have I condemned?
And go along with others.
Who have I condemned?
Everybody you can think of. You condemn Michael. You condemn.
I have condemned no one.
Everything.
Absolutely no one.
You come out and say about me, but you don't never say nothing about your cat mans and things like that.
Of course I do. All the time. I said it today that I didn't agree with him. I thought he was awful.
Some kind of way that to condemn them, and then you come right back and say something. But I think they're right. You see what I'm saying?
No.
Michael's right about you.
All right. Well, listen.
It's going to come upon you.
All right. So you're condemning me. Okay. I haven't condemned anybody. 222-9224. Let me tell you about the original mattress factory.
A Fox News Alert reports say 3 people have been critically injured at a Dallas ICE facility after shots rang out this morning.
Police responded to calls around 7 a.m. local time. Agents reportedly approached the suspect, who then apparently shot himself.
Let's go to Griff Jenkins in studio with some of the information that he's learning. Do we have Griff?
Yeah, good morning, guys. Lawrence, Ainsley, and Brian. This is what ICE fears most, and that is an attack on them. Fox can confirm through ICE sources that there was this attack this morning at the Dallas facility. Shots were fired into the sally port of this facility along the freeway there in Dallas, and the ICE confirms that the shooter is down, a self-inflicted wound, and that 3 individuals have been hit. Their condition unknown. We're continuing to try and learn more about this as you look live here and can see the tremendous law enforcement response. But ICE telling me in no clearer way that they call this, quote, a clear attack on ICE. Now, this comes as we have seen a more than 1,000% increase of assaults on ICE officers. And now this morning, tragically, we're learning that this shooter apparently fired indiscriminately into the Sally Port. Unclear whether ICE officers or detainees or who may have been injured, but at least 3 individuals have been shot. The shooter is down through a self-inflicted wound. We'll bring you more as we get it, guys.
Donald Trump is getting a rude awakening in, of all places, Mississippi. Don't rule out Mississippi flipping blue, because if you look at what's happened in the 2023 governor's election there, it was decided within 25 or 30,000 votes. You go back and you look at the election before that in the United States Senate, I think in 2018, 65,000 votes. And just when people think about other states flipping blue, the margins ended up being bigger than that. But let's take a look at what's happening inside the state of Mississippi. The Mississippi Delta conservative farmers feeling betrayed right now. They were told by their governor and their senator, Cindy Hyde-Smith. Cindy Hyde-Smith was the agriculture commissioner. I remember back in April where she was saying the T word, tariffs. It's incredible. It's going to be great in the short term and long term. Y'all are going to do great. Don't believe me? Here's her direct quote right here from WAPT 16. U.S. Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith speaks on tariffs. She goes, tariffs, I think they're going to be a really good tool. I think the president knows how to use that tool. And I say all the time, that just means we need to talk. But there's been a lot of unfair trading practices in agriculture. And she says this is going to be great for the people of Mississippi. She was the agriculture commission. She knows about the soybean farmers there. She knows about the economy. She knew it was going to crush them. And she sold the people of Mississippi a bill of goods or a bill of snake oil from Donald Trump. You want to take a look at what's happening in the Mississippi Delta, where you have conservative farmers featured in the Mississippi Independent, like Ray Crawford. And it goes through his day and it talks about how there's nowhere to sell his product to. He goes, the biggest buyer, China, hasn't purchased any soybeans from the United States so far. And it goes on to talk about a legion of Mississippi farmers, in addition to Crawford, who leans Republican, who leans conservative, who are feeling the, quote, dramatic impacts of what they see as an unnecessary undermining of their global markets, quote, they're all terrified of losing their livelihood, says Congressmember Benny Thompson to the Mississippian Independent. And it's not just agriculture folks as well. Rural hospitals from the disastrous budget bill. Remember when Trump and everyone says, nothing's going to happen. This is going to be so much better for you. And everyone was like, that's not what's actually in the bill. The bill's going to shut down rural hospitals. It's going to take away your health care. Well, people are feeling the impact, especially in Mississippi, where it looks like 8 rural hospitals in the state are at risk of closure right now, specifically because their Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith voted to close their hospitals. So she's voting to close their hospitals, destroy their farms, and what else? They can't even get aid from the horrific weather that's occurred there in Mississippi. I think they're still petitioning for federal funding to get federal funding for damages caused by severe weather events. Like, that's unheard of. I mean, how punitive can you be towards a state? And for Cindy Hyde-Smith, who's out there praising Trump, I'll show you this video right here. I got not just Cindy Hyde-Smith, I got a video of all of the Mississippi Republican legislatures, like, praising Donald Trump like he's the greatest person. He ain't even giving you the aid for your weather damage, for like praising Donald Trump like he's the greatest person. He ain't even giving you the aid for your weather damage, for catastrophic weather. You think this guy likes you? He's not helping you when bad weather destroys your state. Here, just watch some of this. I can't tolerate more than 20 seconds, so you'll get the sense of it. So let's play it.
Hello, I'm Jason White, Mississippi Speaker of the Mississippi House of Representatives. My name is Rodney Hall. I am the representative for the 20th District of Mississippi.
Hey, I'm Clay DeWeese. I'm the representative from Oxford, Mississippi.
Hey, I'm Michael Watson, Mississippi's 36th Secretary of State. I just want to say thank you to President Trump.
President Trump, I want to say thank you from Mississippi and the Mississippi Legislature for delivering historic and preserving tax cuts for hardworking Mississippians.
People bringing more of their paycheck home, very important.
It's a roadmap for all of our states.
I'm also interested in the opportunity zones that he is now making.
can get aid for it. And so, you know how crooked the government is, especially in some politician states that they're Democratic run. You know, you look at what's happening. You know, I'm just saying. You know, it's bad all over the United States. But let me close with this. I just come back off vacation. Got about 2,800 miles in, traveling Arkansas, Louisiana, and other places. And I met a lot of people, talked to as many as I could. I met some guys from South Africa. They didn't live in South Africa. They lived in an island right off the point of South Africa. And they was over here working on a visa. And I asked him, I said, well, you know, what do you think about the United States? How do you feel about being here? All three of them said, look, this is our dream. This is our dream to be here in the United States. I said, well, are you going to try to work it out and stay and do it the right way? And the guy said, look, it ain't no other way than do it the right way.
No. He should have asked you, did you do it the right way? You European? Did you do it the right way when you come over here and pushed all the Native Americans off their land? And you went from Europe on the joint European slave union ship Jesus and got the Africans to come over and drop them off all over everywhere until you got to America and beat the hell out of them and made them work for you. They saved you. Jesus didn't save them. They saved you, you sorry ass bastards, you lying ass motherfuckers, and you're gonna pay for every goddamn lie you told, you sorry bastard. You ain't shit.
Who come here for the opportunity, for the freedom, and then use that freedom and that opportunity to besmirch the United States. I just think that's horrible.
Well, listen,
now, they got every right to do that, and I understand they do, but I just hate that.
We was in one of the plantation houses down on the Delta, and there was a group of about 15, and they was from France. And they, you know, they all come over to go to different places in the United States. They had 9 days. And most of them didn't speak English, and I sure don't speak French. And, you know, but we communicated. I would talk to them, and between your fingers and your hands and your eyes, you could work out what you was saying. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they had the same thing. They said the same thing. It was their dream to come here. You know. So I found that to be right fascinating.
It is. All right, listen, I appreciate it.
All right, brother.
You have a good day. Thank you for the conversation. Take care. 2229224.
I'm going to tell you what. If you're a Democrat and you listen to that lady talk about this book, and I'm sure you've heard some excerpts, but she is the most hypocritical person I've ever met. She's sitting in there and says, well, I mean, she's tearing the Democratic Party up worse than it already is. She's sitting there talking about Biden should have made the decision before the 107 days, that she was going to pick Pete Buttigieg, but he was too gay. And how can you be too gay? I mean, now look, this is the party of LGBTQ. I mean, you know, this is the party of that. I mean, they're all about that. I mean, Biden tried to fill the White House up with it. And here's the candidate that was running for president, trying to decide who to pick a vice presidential running candidate. And I mean, I don't have nothing against Pete Buttigieg. I don't think he was very good Secretary of Transportation. I mean, you know, he was days late and a dollar short on every issue we had, especially the one in Ohio. But you're sitting there saying that you couldn't pick him. You were trying to find somebody else that you could victimize, you know, and claim they were a victim.
But you couldn't take him because he was too gay. That's like saying you're too pregnant.
Well, what that does is it just continues on with the problem that Kamala Harris has. She is a very bad candidate. I mean, look, no matter whether she's a smart lady or not, it doesn't matter.
I don't think she's very smart.
Well, it doesn't matter. She is if she was the smartest person on the face of this earth, she would still be a terrible candidate. When she was running for president on her own, you know, and she was in the debates and everything, she had to step out of the race. One, she couldn't raise enough money. Two, she was constantly saying things that made it impossible for her to raise any money, and she couldn't continue on, so she dropped out. Why did she drop out? Because she's a terrible candidate. So when they picked her up, and let me say this, if you're the Democrat Party and you believe in the things that you believe in, it would have been a disaster for them to pick anybody else. If they were going to pick, if they're going to have a primary, that was what they should have done. But if they're going to pick someone else, if they passed by Kamala Harris, it would have been a disaster, even more so for the Democrat Party, because that would have been fair. That would have been a bad thing. You pass over the first person of color to be the vice president of the United States. You pass over them, that would have been a disaster. But the thing is, they just can't figure out why it is. In this book, I read an article about it. I'll pass along some information later. But there was an article from MSNBC, as a matter of fact, saying that they just haven't figured out. Kamala Harris, in this book, says why she lost, and she's not right. She just isn't. She does not have any self-awareness whatsoever.
No, absolutely not. I mean, the thing she's this, I don't know, she's kind of like a giggly young kid. You know, just giggles all the time, and
Well, see, one of the things about Kamala Harris is, you know, when she attacked on the debate stage Joseph Biden. I mean, she just unmercifully attacked him. And then when he picked her for vice president, she said, "Oh, that was just politics." There you go. That's one of the reasons why she's really bad at running for president.
Like fracking. I'm against fracking and now I'm for it.
Yeah, she admits that you have to change in politics. You have to be for something today and against it tomorrow, and then the next day you might have to go back being for it again. She's willing to do that, and the American people, Democrats and Republicans, that's something that they just will not tolerate. You know,
you got to have a set of principles.
Absolutely, and you got to stick to them. You know, if they're bad, stick to them. If you say something that's a bad idea, don't change your mind on it once you have put your foot down, because the American people think you're wishy-washy. And I think that one of the things that Democrats and Republicans hate the most about presidential candidates or their political candidates is when they're wishy-washy. And I think that's why she did not do well when she was, not this time when she was running for president against Trump, but when she was running for president in the primary, she was just an awful candidate.
Charlie Kirk has gay chapters of Turning Point. I mean, I've seen people come up to the microphone and said, "I'm a conservative gay person," and he said, "Well, don't concentrate on that. What you do in your bedroom is your business. But if you work with God on that, it's between you and God. You got to work with God. But if you have conservative principles, that's what we want. We want conservative principles." Now, he didn't say that about the other, and I think gay people are getting lumped into all this other craziness with the transgender mutilation of children. I think they hooked her, and there are a lot of gay people that don't believe in that. They don't believe in this transgender surgery. They don't believe in this transitional stuff. Yeah. And I think they're getting lumped into a category that they really don't. If they really don't want to be in. Yeah. A lot of them.
Well, one of the great things about and a lot of people that don't know anything about Charlie Kirk. Well, one of the great things about Charlie Kirk is he was willing to have a discussion about that. Whether you agreed with him or disagreed with him, he wanted to have a discussion. He didn't attack people. He never attacked anyone. He would try to get his point across, and with some of the people that he was talking with, they would get louder and louder and louder, and he would get louder and louder. But he never disrespected anybody. All he ever did was say, "Step right up here. Tell me why I'm wrong." That was the booth that he was doing.
And then he would lay his microphone down. I don't know if you noticed this. Every time he would lay his microphone down on the table and listen.
Right.
And let them say whatever they wanted to say, and then he would come back with his what he thought was right. And a lot of his stuff was solely based on statistics, truth statistics. Everybody called him a racist. He's a racist. He's a racist. No, he was just telling you, we've got a problem, and there's the problem. Why is this particular group of people committing over half the murders in the country? Why is this, why is there more of this? Why is there more of that?
People think sometimes that when you ask a question, somehow the fact that you're asking, because you don't know the answer, you're asking a question. Just by asking a question, you're this or that, you're racist, you're a bigot, you're whatever. No, asking questions is what Charlie Kirk was all about. Let's talk about these things. You ask me something, I don't mind, I'll tell you what I think. How about if I ask you something? And this was the antithesis of being racist.
He would, illegal immigrants, he would sit there and explain. He would try to say, what can we do to solve this? He was always looking for answers.
He would ask people.
He was always looking for.
Yeah, he would ask people with different opinions what they thought.
Have more fathers at home. What do we need to do for the kids that are, failing in school? What do we, he would converse with them and say, what do you think we should do?
Yeah. All right.
And that's pure conversation. I mean, that's what you want. An upper staff member. I mean, I've seen him on Facebook. I've seen him do talks on Facebook.
Sure.
I mean, he's sharp as a tack. But you just can't label somebody something when he's talking about statistics.
Well, one of the things I find so fascinating, Barry, about Charlie Kirk, and people on this program have said this. Several people on this program have said this. I never heard of Charlie Kirk before, he was assassinated. But yet they're willing to say, they never heard of him, never heard him speak, didn't even know who he was, know nothing, absolutely nothing about him other than he was assassinated, and say that he was racist. Now, where does that come from? You don't know anything at all, but you're willing to say he's racist because you heard somebody else say that. Why did you say that? And that's what Charlie Kirk would do. Somebody would stand up and they would say something, and he'd say, why do you say that? All right, listen, I got to go. I appreciate it. Thank you. You take care. 222-9224.
I can't imagine what they said about me. I can't even imagine. Because I know I'm a good person. But according to my family and some of the people in this community, I'm trash. There's some dumbass people like that.
Have you ever held a book and felt the weight of centuries, of empires, of countless lives? There is one book that carries this weight more than any other, the Bible. It's the most printed, most translated, and most debated book in history. Its stories and teachings have inspired art, shaped laws, and guided civilizations. But where did this extraordinary book come from? Who wrote it? The answer is a remarkable partnership, a divine and human collaboration unfolding over thousands of years. Join me as we seek to understand who really wrote the Bible. It's a library of many books. 66 books in the Protestant Bible, even more in Catholic and Orthodox traditions, written over 1,500 years. Its pages span continents, Asia, Africa, Europe, and cultures, from deserts to empires. More than 40 authors contributed, kings, fishermen, prophets, poets, and physicians. Each brought a unique voice and perspective. The Bible is a chorus of human voices across centuries, not a monolithic work. Written in Hebrew, Aramaic, and Greek, It's a tapestry of languages and experiences. The miracle is that these diverse writings form a cohesive story. When we ask who wrote the Bible, we must appreciate its complexity. This is our first clue in the mystery of divine and human authorship. Let's take a closer look at the remarkable individuals whose lives and experiences shape the words we read today. Behind every page of the Bible, there are real people, each with their own unique story, background, and journey of faith. Consider Moses, who was raised in Pharaoh's palace, surrounded by wealth and power, yet chose to lead his people out of slavery. He became a lawgiver, a leader, and a poet, writing the Torah, an epic collection of laws, history, and poetry that still shapes lives today. Then there's David, who began as a humble shepherd boy, spending nights under the stars with his flock. He rose to become a king, a warrior, and a musician. His psalms, filled with raw emotion and honesty, have brought comfort and hope to millions across centuries. Luke, a Greek doctor and careful historian, approached his writing with precision and compassion. He interviewed eyewitnesses and meticulously recorded the life and teachings of Jesus, giving us a detailed and thoughtful account. Paul's story is one of transformation. Once a fierce persecutor of early Christians, he became one of Christianity's greatest missionaries. Through his journeys and letters, he shared deep theology, personal encouragement, and practical wisdom with communities across the ancient world. The Bible's authors came from all walks of life: kings, shepherds, doctors, scholars, fishermen, and prophets. Each one brought their own perspective, shaped by their experiences, challenges, and hopes. Their stories are as fascinating and diverse as the words they left behind, reflecting the full range of human emotion and experience. The Bible is not just a book of ancient wisdom, it's a collection of real people's experiences, struggles, questions, and faith passed down through generations. Through their hands, history and hope were written, connecting us to their world and their faith. These are just a few of the human hands that wrote the Bible, reminding us that behind every word, there is a story, a life, and a legacy that continues to inspire. The Bible claims a bold truth. While human hands wrote its words, its ultimate author is God himself. This is not just a matter of faith, but a foundational claim that shapes how millions approach its pages. The Bible stands apart from every other book, not because of its age or influence, but because it is believed to carry the very breath of the divine. The Apostle Paul wrote, "All scripture is God-breathed," theopneustos in Greek. This word paints a vivid picture. Scripture is not merely inspired in a general sense, but is the direct result of God's creative breath, as if each word carries his life and intention.
They don't have no idea. They start telling me the apostles' names. You know, they start talking about Judas and John and all these. No, they wrote nothing. Those men were illiterate, man. They couldn't even read or write. They were illiterate people. The Bible was written from 100 AD to 900 AD by Phoenicians, followers of Hermes, Thoth, the Atlantean priest king. That's who wrote the Bible, and they didn't write a Bible. What they did was they started copying ancient texts from all over the world, remnants of the Library of Alexandria, copying these ancient texts onto different parchment papers and stuffing them inside of vases and jars inside of caves. Over time, between 100 AD to 900 AD, people, explorers and archaeologists who wrote the Bible. I've never gotten the right answer since I've asked that question.
Ain't doing any research. The 95 poorest county is red county. The 8 out of the 10 poorest welfare states is red state. The biggest donor state, or the donor state, is somebody who gives more to the federal government than they take, is California, the dreaded Newsom. And then I heard you say, and Barry say, and this is where I call, well, let me say this real quick.
We're at 8 minutes now.
Okay,
so hurry up.
I'll say this real quick. I appreciate it. With Charlie Kirk saying that, you saying that the people who had never heard of Charlie Kirk will call him a racist. That's just as much as you haven't heard everything that he said, but you saying he's not a racist. But the last thing about you and Barry, y'all calling Kamala Harris, the former vice president, a bad candidate. Well, both of you can't win an election yourself.
That's got nothing to do with anything.
All right. Both of you come in dead last.
I didn't come in dead. I did not come in.
That won a vice president of the United States.
I didn't come in dead last, but yeah.
Dead last, buddy.
All right,
You
absolutely.
dead last.
I didn't come in dead last. I'm just telling you that. Barry may have come in last. I didn't come in dead last. But that, well, Michael, let's talk about that for a second. I wish you would, you have conversations with me. What has that got to do with anything? That's got nothing to do with anything. All that has to do with is you want to besmirch my character and Barry's character. That's what you want to do. But does that have anything at all? Whether I am a good candidate or a bad candidate, and I obviously was a bad candidate because I didn't win. And was Barry a good candidate or a bad candidate? He didn't win, so you could say he was a bad candidate. But what has that got to do with anything about Kamala Harris? Absolutely nothing. She was a horrible candidate. When she was running for president, she had to drop out.
He's already hung up on Michael so he can talk, so he can say his what he want to say. He always hangs up on Michael.
I'm not besmirching her character in any way whatsoever. I happen to think, and nobody ever asked me these things, I happen to think she seems like an awful nice person. I don't think she's mean or anything. She seems very pleasant to talk to. She seems to love children, animals, cooking, all sorts of things. But she, no matter, if you want to put this from a Democratic perspective or a Republican's perspective, she is a terrible candidate. She had the perfect, in the last election that she ran, the perfect opportunity to distance herself from Joe Biden, and she didn't. When they asked her on The View, very friendly place, she could have had a conversation about this and said in a very friendly way, there are a lot of things that he did that I didn't care. He said she couldn't think of anything. That is being a bad candidate. If you need to distance yourself, which she did, then that's being a bad candidate.
And that is the talk of Alamance County, North Carolina.
The very foundation of intellectual and scientific inquiry in Africa, when it comes to the notion of God, began with one extraordinary realization. That is, if biodiversity exists, then there must be a source behind its appearance, its formation, its unfolding, its creation. Now the question that naturally follows is, were there multiple beings, that is, multiple higher powers, each responsible for creating a part of nature? For example, was there one God for the coconut trees, one for the mango trees? Or was there only one being who designed all of creation? Upon scientific reflection, they concluded that there was indeed a single being at the origin of everything. But the nature of this being is unique. Every time it created something, that thing, in a sense, pre-existed its own material manifestation. What does this mean? While people often emphasize that God created man, that is not the essential point. Man, in some way, pre-existed himself. In other words, God created the pre-existing conditions necessary for humanity before actually bringing humanity into existence. And it is precisely this that makes African cosmotheology so unique. Right from the start, African thinkers recognized a single God. They taught that the sun, that is, light itself, was merely a manifestation of God's presence, not God himself. And since there is only one sun in the sky, this too reflected divine oneness. Then comes a second point, the word medu neter, which means words of God. Nature here is singular, not plural, because God is one. Thirdly, they identified the kings as Sara, meaning son of God. Their names were inscribed in the cartouche, an oval symbol representing the universe, always placed at the center. And I ask you, how many centers can a circle have? Only one. This visually symbolizes the singularity of God, a God they also called Wa, the One. In ancient Egyptian texts, God is repeatedly described as the One, the Only. For example, your God is the one God, there is none besides him. This concept is found across various papyri, including the famous Hymn to Aten, composed by Akhenaten, who worshipped Aten as the visible manifestation of God's presence. Later, these same ideas appear in the Bible, for example, the Gospel of Mark and the Quran, showing that African spiritual reflections provided the foundation for subsequent religious thought. Indeed, even these other spiritual traditions openly acknowledge that they drew from African teachings, as if drinking the milk of the African mother. It is said, for instance, that Moses was initiated in the knowledge of Pharaoh, that is, African wisdom. Africans invented writing. Naturally, they gave a name to what they invented. Unlike Europe, which did not create writing, since writing first emerged from the Canaanites, according to even European historians like Herodotus and Diodorus of Sicily, Africans developed their own writing system. Before Indo-European invasions, it was Phoenicians, Canaanites, who brought writing to black people already living in Europe. Even Latin writing was not a product of Indo-European intellectual development. It emerged from a pre-existing African population known as the Etruscans. DNA analysis of Etruscan greats has confirmed that their genetic makeup was not European. This is beyond debate. Since writing originated with Africans, they named it Medu Neta, words of God. In ancient Egyptian, Medu, words, plural of word, Neta, God, singular. Unlike Mesopotamia, where writing arose mainly for accounting purposes, calculi, in Africa, writing was invented to bear witness to the existence of God. That is why ancient historians say Africa was the first continent to initiate humanity into knowledge of the divine. When the Greeks arrived in Africa and encountered sacred papyrus texts, they called them biblus, from which we get Bible, referring to papyrus bark. Any etymology dictionary shows that the word Bible comes directly from this African tradition of recording sacred knowledge on papyrus. The Greeks simply observed that papyrus was used as a medium for preserving God's words, and they adopted it. So, was the African wrong to define writing as the word? No. The point was not simply to record speech, but to preserve the divine message itself, the Word of God, for eternity. Understanding God as infinite and man as finite raises a crucial question. Can the finite have direct discourse with the infinite? No. Only the spiritual part of man, his soul, can engage with the infinite source of all creation. Thus, it is the spirit of man that inherits immortality and eternal life, while the material body is destined to perish. This profound theology, developed in ancient Africa, offered real insight, without religious fundamentalism or conflict. Each temple might have its own theological focus, but these were always complementary facets of one vast, unified, divine understanding. For example, when we examine modern religious doctrines, as in the special edition of Le Monde de Religion on who wrote the Bible, they confirm that ideas like eternal life, paradise, resurrection from the dead, etc., were unknown in the West before contact with Africa. Having received this knowledge, the West later constructed its own versions, including the New Testament. But how could God have an Old Testament, a Middle Testament, and a New Testament? There was only one act of creation, one Big Bang, not several. Interestingly, Western society still gives primacy to the spoken word in important moments. Presidential oaths, court proceedings, weddings, where the spoken word carries binding authority. The written document merely confirms what has already been said aloud. In Africa, all civilizations had writing systems, though some maintained these within initiatory or sacred contexts. Without the proper knowledge, the reading code, hieroglyphs may appear as drawings, but once decoded, they reveal full sentences. This was true across all African civilizations. What we're dealing with is a deeply colonial and imperial distortion of history, where the West, which never independently generated any writing system, now pretends to lecture Africa about writing and knowledge. Yet even Western historians acknowledge writing came from Africa.
You see what I mean? Mr. Johnny, who comes late, gonna try to tell the original person what's supposed to be. Now, what kind of shit is that? You think we're gonna listen to y'all dumbass tell us, the original, what is supposed to be? Well, you better go back to where you came from, because you a dumbass motherfucker. And Charlie Kirk was spreading a false gospel, a false narrative of the word, okay?
Most people realize that Charlie Kirk was not killed for what he said. He was killed because people all over the world were listening to him. And as a result, somebody somewhere decided that he presented a danger to the status quo. He had moved in a lot of his thinking further and further away from what we normally call the Israel lobby and its policies and thinking. And he came around to understanding that what is happening in Gaza is in fact an atrocity. I think he discovered that Epstein was a serious player in Washington, and it was vital to release the files, even though it would expose many, many famous people. There needed to be an understanding that the Mossad, working probably with the CIA, had a lot of information about people they didn't want to release, and that this was being used for blackmail purposes. He also spoke directly to President Trump when he was up at a party in the Hamptons on Long Island about the wisdom of attacking Venezuela. And that, of course, offended Donald Trump. He suggested that probably wasn't a good idea and shouldn't be done. So I think if you look at his development over the last 6, 7, 8 years, he moved away from a very, I don't want to say naive, but innocent view of the world and the United States in it to one that was much more critical. And I think his statements were resonating very strongly with people under the age of 40 who listened to him and agreed with him. So somebody decided he had to be stopped.
But it didn't carry love. It carried shackles. Before you scroll, named the slave ship Jesus. Yes, the Jesus murdered by the British Crown, captained by John Hawkins, one of the first Englishmen to make a fortune selling African people into slavery. Before every voyage, he would pray with his crew, ask God for a safe journey, then load human beings into the belly of a ship named after the so-called Savior. Stood for Joint European Slave Union Ship. The irony cuts deep, because that ship, called Jesus, didn't bring salvation. It brought chains. It brought death. It brought generations of trauma. While we prayed to heaven, they sold us to hell. They used Christianity as a tool, not to uplift us, but to break us. They quoted scriptures like, "Slaves, obey your earthly masters," then whipped us when we disobeyed. They handed us the Bible and took our land. They gave us hymns and took our history. They baptized us, then branded us. They destroyed our shrines, then built churches on top of them. You think that's faith? That's weaponized religion. Missionaries came before the colonizers. They softened our resistance by making us feel guilty for fighting back. They told us to turn the other cheek while they took the other half of our continent. And even now, some of us still pray to their version of God. The ship was called Jesus, but it didn't carry love. It carried shackles, or just enslave our minds. He named the slave ship Jesus of Lubeck, chartered by the British Crown, captained by John Hawkins. Before every voyage, he would pray with his crew, ask God for a safe journey, then load human beings into the belly of a ship named after the so-called Savior. Joint European Slave Union Ship. Whether that acronym is literal or the irony cuts deep. Because that ship, called Jesus, didn't bring salvation. It brought chains, used Christianity as a tool, not to uplift us, but to break us. They quoted scriptures like, "Slaves, obey your earthly masters," then whipped us when we disobeyed. They handed us the Bible and took our land. They gave us hymns and took our history. They baptized us, then branded us. They destroyed our shrines, then built churches on top of them. You think that's faith? That's weaponized religion. Missionaries came before the colonizers. They softened our resistance by making us feel guilty for fighting back. They told us to turn the other cheek while they took the other half of our continent. And even now, some of us still pray to their version of God, never realizing that our own gods were buried, demonized, erased. The ship was called Jesus. It carried shackles. Before you scroll, did they save our souls or just enslave our minds?
They estimate that somewhere around 1,000 of those ships wrecked. So 1,000 ships that wrecked. But to date, less than 10 of those wrecks have been found. And that did not feel right to me. I was like, why don't we know more about this history? Who's looking for these ships? Like, it's a whole bunch of history that's just missing. I learned that there were 12,000 ships that brought 12.5 million Africans to the Americas.
Jenny Fire, you know. Another mystery lives inside our mystery. Another mystery lives inside our mystery. Bitch, Jesus was a slave ship. Check who you calling on. Jesus was a slave ship. Them said, fuck your God, fuck your land, fuck your culture, fuck your dignity. Get on the fucking ship, forget about your history. The rest is history. 2020 still lies about our history. Why? Keep the niggas in check, that was a victory. Still a victory, another mystery. This is how a mystery. Let them know, bitch. Jesus was a slave ship. Check who you calling on. Jesus was a slave ship. Beaten ancestors to death, promised the promised land. The rest is history. A lot is mystery, bitch. Jesus was a slave ship. Check who you calling on. Jesus was a slave ship. Falcon and Drake, captain of the slave ship, the good ship. Jesus gifted by the Queen of England, same ship. Who taught biblical lessons of the slave Bible? Same bitch. The book taught them to be better slaves at who? The same bitch. Jesus' name that you praise, but turn your back on your God. The Savior got our sin and put that mark on his skin. You've got your God within. Bitch, Jesus was a slave ship. Check who you calling on. Jesus was a slave ship. Beaten ancestors to death, promised the promised land. The rest is history. A lot is mystery, bitch. Jesus was a slave ship. Check who you calling on. Jesus was a slave ship. Aren't you tired of that slave shit? Since you ass, bitch, I'm tired of that same shit. Ain't that long ago, this ain't a fairy tale. This ain't no once upon a time, it happened till this day. Still have to defend the rights, till this day. Black beat, black face, Becky till this day. Black lives matter, like yesterday. All we ever did was be black anyway, bitch. Jesus was a slave ship. Check who you calling on. Jesus was a slave ship. A lot of mystery lives inside our misery. A lot of mystery lives inside our misery. A lot of mystery lives inside our misery. Check. Everywhere I go, angel there. Everywhere I go, there's an angel there. There's an angel there. Ooh, 'cause my God, He never leaves me alone. He never leaves me alone. He'll never leave me alone. He never leaves me alone. Everywhere I turn, there's an angel there. There's an angel there. Everywhere I turn, there's an angel there. There's an angel there. Everywhere I turn, there's an angel there. There's an angel there. Ooh, 'cause my God, He never leaves me alone. He never leaves me alone. He'll never leave me alone. He never leaves me alone. for myself. I've shared doors and rivers and a guy, a raging sea. We're in the storm, life is raging, and the fury pours away. I stood and I wonder why some of God's good fortune passed me by. And I said to myself, don't worry, you girl will make a way. Somehow I know it will, I know it will. And I try to do my best in service. Lord, I try to do the very best that I can. When I try to do the right thing, evil rising over every man. Yes, it is. Well, I'm not looking up wonder why. God's good fortune sometimes passed by. And I said to myself, don't worry, I'll make a way. Yeah. Somehow I will. Yes, you will. I'll make a way. Yeah, when beneath the cross, I'm not to come. He will take away. He will take away all the sorrow. If you
The Unreachable Star. Rita, has been good so long. Her first hit record, she was 14 years old, Never Grow Old. And Rita's been good since the 50s. Rita has been good across almost 4 decades.
To borrow a line from her father, the late C.L. Franklin,
oh, yeah.
She's a natural-born singer.
And I'd like for him to take it all away. All the way back. Surely, 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 he's able, carry the through. And pilgrims here, we sometimes early. Oh yes we do.
We often know not which way to turn, but there is one, oh yes it is, who knows the road, who help us carry every load.
Don't you know God is able, he's able, he's able, he's able, he's able, Lord is able, he's able, all together, all around you, so God can save you. You'll be free when you're friendly. Oh yes, you'll be a mother.
Praise God. Hallelujah.
I love the Lord. He heard my cry. The Lord. He heard my cry. Yeah, every ground. Yeah.
right, baby.
Over troubled water. Keep it going. Your life has been out of control. You're confused. But don't worry. Your soul it will get better. It's gotta get better. It will get better. It's gonna be better. It will get better.
Some of the people pain. If you tell me your dark secret, I might tell mine. Oh, yes, indeed. Oh, yes. Try dancing, dancing if you will. Try dancing. Dancing if you will. Dancing, come along. Try dancing if you will. Don't let your body lay still. Oh, yes it is. Hey, from right now to the dawn, we gon' really get it on. We won't stop right until we get it right. It's got to be on the one. It's not over till it's done. It's gon' be so good when we get it right. Got to be willing to try. Even if we get up early and work overtime, do it till you get it right. Incredible high. There's no ending to what's in it. It's yours and mine. So let's do it till we get it right. Till we get it. Do it till we get it. Do it till you get it. Do it till you get it and get it right. I know just how to do it to make it really nice. There's no mystery to me. It's how you get it right. Well, you make it scream, you make it shout, toss it, turn it inside out. Never quit, stay with it and get it right. You don't give up, you never stop. We gon' take it to the top. We just take the time to get it right. Got to be right to the top. Yeah, they never stop. If we keep believing, we can never go too high. Yeah, let's give it a try. Need it last forever. No way. Do it till we get it right. Even if it takes a moment to wait tonight, we can do it till we get it right. We can shout, toss it, turn it inside out. Do it till we get it, stay with me and get it right. Do it till we get it, never stop. We can take it to the top. Do it till we get it, take the time, get it right. Do it till we get it, get it right.
be right. I just wanna be right. I just wanna be right. When you see me singing my song, I just wanna be right. When you see me walking alone, I just wanna be right. Well, it's him to say right. Oh yeah. I just wanna be right. Say right. Right. Oh yeah. I just wanna be right. Listen here. When you see me singing, I just wanna be right. Yeah. When you see me testifying, I just wanna be right. When you see me giving God the praise, I just wanna be right. Yeah. When you see me worshiping the Lord, I just wanna be right. I just wanna be right. Anybody wanna be right? I just wanna be right. Wave your hand and say right. Yeah. I just wanna be right. Say right. Now come on, let's praise him up in here. Oh, be right. Be right. Be right. Be right. Be right. Be right. I want to be right. Anybody here wanna be right? Be right. Anybody here wanna be right? If you wanna be right, be right. Let me hear. Clap your hands. Let me hear. Clap your hands. Say clap it. Ain't no one. Yeah. Be right. Be right. Be right. I wanna be right. Look at me. I'm a young man. 27 years old. I could have been a drug dealer. I could have been a drug addict. I could have been an alcoholic. I could have been a gang member. I could have been a robber. But look at me, giving God the praise. Just look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. Oh, be right, be right. Anybody here wanna be right? If you wanna be right, come on. Oh, yeah. Oh yeah. I just wanna be right. So right. Oh yeah. I just wanna be right. Holding it now, so I'm starting to feel good up in here. Oh, be right. Be right. Be right. Be right. I wanna be right. Anybody here feel like me? Not just today. In the morning, in the noonday, in the evening, in the midnight hour, on the Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I wanna be right. Anybody here feel like me? I wanna be right. Oh yeah. I just wanna be right. So right. Oh yeah. I just wanna be right. Now how much they know the devil don't have no new tricks? He just got new faces. When the devil trying to get you to do something wrong, just look at that devil and say, oh, be right. Be right. Be right. Be right. I wanna be right. Anybody here wanna be right? Anybody here wanna be right? If you wanna be right, look at your neighbor. Look, I wanna be right. Say, neighbor, I wanna be right. I want to be right. I wanna be right. All right. Oh yeah. I just wanna be right. Say right. Oh yeah. I just wanna be right. Well, I feel something about to move up in here. Oh, be right. Be right. Be right. Be right. I wanna be right. Be right. Be right. Be right. I wanna be right. Is there anybody out here that know they wanna be right? Anybody wanna be right? Anybody wanna be right? Can I tell you about me? Can I tell you about Anybody feel like me? How many can tell the devil, I just want to be right? Now, if you just want to be right, y'all just move for a couple of minutes. Oh, be right. Be right. Be right. Yeah. Be right. Be right. Be right. Everybody. Be right. Be right. Be right. Be right. Right now, while the blood is running warm in your veins. Be right. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I wanna be right. Be right. How many came to have service in here? I wanna be right. If you came to have service in here, grab your neighbor by the hand. I wanna be right. Say, neighbor, I don't know about you, but I'm talking about me. I wanna be right. 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 Every day. Be right. Be right. Every day. Yes, sir. Be right. Be right. Every month. Yes, sir. Be right. Be right. Every year. Yeah. Be right. Be right. Be right. Be right. Oh, be right. Right. I just wanna be right. Say right. Oh, yeah. I just wanna be right.
And we got thief and assassination. Yeah, these people was trying to set something up. Yeah, these people was trying to set something up. They were trying to set something up to happen to you. But why? Dirty offer. They sent somebody in to give you some type of dirty offer. This motherfucker over here like, they know I'm lying. Could be somebody that be trying to impersonate you. They upset. They sent somebody to sweet talk you. They wanted you to end up in some type of landfill. Look, thief. They was talking to this person like, I want you to do this, this, that, and the third. Maybe they all a part of the same cult, the same group, same family. Maybe this is somebody from their family. They wanted you to end up in some type of landfill. Same family. Maybe this is somebody from their family. They could have been sending this person to physically harm you, to rob you, anything. They could have also been upset because something emotional. Maybe you left them or somebody left them or they wanted to come in between something. These people could be having some type of legal issues. We got funeral. Maybe they wanted to see you have some type of funeral. Let's say family funeral. Or these family members was going to try to cry at your funeral. They don't really know what to do. You got the gun in their hand. And it says forces things on you, forces their way in, uses force to get what they want. So there was somebody that they could have sent to try to force, GPS and travel. There could have been somebody that was sent to you, try to send this person to your neighborhood. And I see devil. They done sent the devil, travel and GPS, to try to force their way into your home. I see neighborhood. They sent this person to your neighborhood. And I see devil. They done sent the devil. This person could be a serial killer. This person, they don't want me to talk about this. This could be somebody diabolical out here. An offer. They sent this person to give an offer. Look, these people was meeting to talk about this, to set this up, and they could have been watching you, but you move in silence. So you see, they got these laptops and stuff. This could be somebody diabolical out here. An offer. They sent this person to give an offer to talk about this, to set this up, and they could have been watching you, but you move in silence. So you see, they got these laptops and stuff. Could have been family. They could have been having family meetings. I don't know who family this is, your family. But they could have been having some type of family meetings. Queen B, secure, confident, boss, B-I-T-C-H, career focus. Somebody could be getting readings, and this is what they could be being told about you. And somebody out. Somebody is literally hating that you are alive. Somebody could be getting readings, and this is what they could be being told about you. They're literally hating that you are alive. They're hating that you are alive. You're happy, you're focused on your career, you're thriving. They are not happy. This is coming on not happy. Happiness haters. They are not happy. They are not happy. They are not happy. This is the person that was working with this person that sent them towards you. They're not happy at all that you are alive. True colors and caregiver. There's something like this that was doing this. Marrying for money. Somebody could have been doing something for money. Somebody could have been sent to marry you for money. I don't know. Let me see. Show me family. What's family? So we have ignoring. You could have been ignoring this person that they sent there. Somebody want me to get this out. Marrying for money is back out again. Caregiver. So there's a family member here of somebody's. Marrying for money. And maybe they had somebody they sent to you to try to marry you for money or something like this. We got travel again. Something about traveling. So this person's packing their... Somebody is watching you heal. They're seeing you heal here. So somebody could have had somebody do something to somebody. Run away. Bad habits, drugs, addictions, toxicity. Maybe somebody poisoned somebody or something. Organized crime. I'm telling you, they told this person they aware. They know what's going on.
I sure do.
They done tried it all, family. Travel. They could have tried to send somebody to you here. This person's aware. I seen true colors.
I sure am aware. I'm just letting them make a fool out of the damn self. Because they damn fools.
I can't make it up. Accomplice. Partner in crime. They done tried to send somebody to you. This person wasn't... This is a cult, a group, 111, whatever the case may be. They told this person's aware.
I sure am.
They know. I can't even get close to this person.
He who knows. I'm going to let it play out.
This is a cult, a group, 111, whatever the case may be. They told this person's aware.
I sure am aware of everything y'all do.
They know.
This person wants to put you in a cycle, or it will like trigger, is what I'm getting. This may trigger this attempt, okay, because for the majority of you guys, this is just not going to manifest here because you're not letting this person back in here. But this may attempt like an emotional roller coaster here, okay? This has everything to do with something that this person is caught up in. And family could be your this could be your actual relatives here. Okay, we could be talking about a community. This could be church family here, an organization. Take it how it resonates here. But one thing, family could be your this could be your actual relatives here. Okay, we could be talking about a community. This could be church family. One thing is for sure, somebody has gotten themselves in a pickle of a shape here.
They tried turning you crazy and lost their minds. They thought they could break you. They thought if they pushed you hard enough, if they whispered enough lies, if they twisted enough truths, they could make you doubt your own mind. They tried to paint you as unstable, as weak, as lost. But what they didn't realize is that when you're rooted in truth, no storm of manipulation can shake you. When you carry strength in your spirit, their tricks collapse under their own weight. They tried to turn you crazy, but in the end, it wasn't your mind that broke. It was theirs. Because the same trap they set for you, they ended up falling into themselves. Manipulation. There comes a time in life when you must recognize the games people play. They smile in your face, but plot behind your back. There comes a time in life when you must recognize the games people play. They smile in your face, but plot behind your back. They act like they're for you, but everything in their actions shows they want to see you fall. One of the oldest tricks in the book is manipulation.